Pretty good. I just gave blood.
Very cool.
We're doing this on a Saturday because I was traveling Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah. But right before we came on, I was talking about how I had a 9 o'clock appointment and got there 8:55 because you do a pre-pass thing to answer all the questions and stuff.
Yeah.
And didn't end up getting my blood drawn until like whenever I texted you, like 9:30 probably.
Yeah.
Just a long wait, which when the guy was apologizing over and over again, it's like, I think it's a good thing. It's fine. Because, a lot of people showing up to get blood.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I had wanted to get my ritual.
Mm-hmm.
I have several rituals around giving blood, most of which involve hydrating the day before. I always want the fastest time to give a unit of blood.
Yeah.
And a lot of that just has to do with being hydrated. But on the other end of it, when I'm done, I like to go to Whataburger. I like to get 2 honey butter chicken biscuit sandwiches.
Yeah.
Because you gotta refuel.
Right, for sure.
And I was just running so late. I had wanted to do this at 9:30, 9:45, and now it's 10:13 or whatever. But
I was just going to say that really worked for me because honestly I completely forgot we were doing this morning. And I stayed in bed way too long, and had we started when we planned, I would have not been ready, so...
Yeah, we made you stay up late too because of the Expanse, right?
Yeah, I was so late.
Alright, so I do want to talk a little bit about giving blood, because Ash has to give blood for different labs and stuff from time to time.
Yeah.
And 3 for 3 out of the last 3 times, multiple sticks, can't get all the blood even out of her.
Mm. And
so we're on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Right.
Entirely. Of person who's doing my vitals looks at my arm, he's like, oh yeah. He got excited to see my arm. And then the person who actually went to go do the blood draw, she's like, all right, 2 pumps and then hold, because you're holding a stress ball type thing. And then even she was like, oh. I was like, that's right. I'm good at this.
Flexing on him.
So hydrated. And I actually set a record for myself. Before this, it was 7.5, 15 minutes to give a unit of blood. This time it was 6 minutes, which I didn't even think was possible. I thought 7 minutes was as fast as you could go.
It's like the 4-minute mile.
A little bit.
You just can't go any faster.
A little bit.
Did you get any prize or anything? Did they clap or?
The machine did for me. The machine makes a noise like a casino machine noise when you're close.
Yeah.
And then when you finish, it's like, ta-da! Which was nice. But, love giving blood. I give blood every 8 weeks, which is how long you're supposed to wait. Normally, the library, which is 3 minutes from us, usually they have a mobile blood drive every so many weeks. And it just happened to be on Tuesday while I was getting ready to go to DC.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'll just schedule the Saturday after. And now I'm good.
Very cool.
My mom turned me on to it. Probably I wanted to do it since junior high, but you can't do it till you're 18.
Yeah.
But she would take me whenever she would give blood. And she's been doing it for a long time. She's got mugs and totes and all this.
Yeah.
All this and that.
All the paraphernalia.
Yeah. Usually around here they'll give you a gift card to Torchies, and they expire. So I've had multiple Torchies gift cards expire on me. This time I got a Gaddy's and a Whataburger. Get a free taquito.
Are you gonna use that Gaddy's?
No, do you Gaddy?
We Gaddy.
You Gaddy?
I mean,
I got you.
my brother Gaddy's harder than I do. But
Gaddy.
every once in a while, I'll Gaddy it up.
Trade this card for a free 1-topping medium pizza. Must be presented at time of redemption. Not valid with any... August 31st.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. But I like giving blood. It's a, I'm real service-oriented, and my job, my work. It's been frustrating and all of that recently, but like big picture recently of like the last year or whatever.
Yeah.
And one of the perks, one of the reasons I stick with it is it's public sector oriented, and the dream would be, I helping these people with our software so that our taxpayer dollars go further, so that they're more effective in what they do, and that's supposed to give me my it's supposed to scratch my service itch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I pocket a commission or whatever, but I can point to whatever program and say I helped with that. The reason they're X% faster, the reason they spend less money. And there's just only been so much of that in the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And so this, giving blood, is a very, it's like the opposite end of the spectrum of like, I'm having to abstract and jump through some hoops and squint and look sideways to be like, yeah, my job helps. This is on the opposite spectrum of that, of like, no, I literally, please take the blood out of my body to help somebody else. It's like, all right, cool. I'm helping. That's why I like giving blood. I encourage everyone to give blood.
You're such an honorable man, Nate.
That, again, thank you, Mom. I'll put that one on Mom. You take that credit, Mom. You give all the blood you did and contributed to all the blood I gave.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. I am excited to get Whataburger after this, though.
I think I'm going to try to get Burger King today.
Oh, yeah, so we started talking about it, and I was like, save it for the pod. What's up with Burger King?
I saw a video yesterday of Irish people trying Burger King.
Nice.
And it just reminded me of, like, Burger King, it's one of those places that, like, I never really think about it, and, like, I don't ever, like, crave it. I don't really ever pay attention to it, but then once I do remember and I go and have it, I'm like, this is always so much better than I think it should be. And, yeah, so I want to do that. I haven't had Burger King in a while.
What's a while to you?
Not as long as you, for sure. Maybe like 4 to 6 months.
I only get fast food so often, and the big, slice of that is going to be like Whataburger probably.
Yeah.
But a big Burger King memory I have is one of the times I was stationed at Fort Gordon. I had my wisdom teeth taken out.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like the first fast food I got, because it was like down the street. And yeah. But that was how long ago? That was pre-deployment, so like pre-2012. However long ago that was. Like, it might have been over a decade since I had Burger King.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so how often would you say you have fast food?
Once a week-ish, but closer to like every other week. Ash and I get Thai food for dinner. I'm not sure if that counts.
No, that's not fast
okay.
food.
Maybe like once a month. Nah. Like every other month I'll get like Popeyes for the chicken sandwich.
Like, what about Whataburger? Like, you know?
I mean, that's like if I'm on a trip or something. If I'm doing travel. I don't like go out and get it. It's like on the way out, on the way in. Like if I come in at midnight and there's like nothing to eat and I haven't eaten all day because I've been working and traveling. But the last time that happened was in February. So
Interesting.
yeah. I do like whenever I'm traveling. So I was traveling this week. I do like we get $100 to spend on meals per day.
Yeah.
And I'll drop all 100 of those dollars on like one meal, one restaurant to have a nice spread.
Smorgasbord.
Yeah. But then also it's so that I can like wake up and microwave some pizza or microwave some wings or whatever and not have to go downstairs wait in any kind of line to put food in me.
Yeah.
Yeah. This last time, so I went to DC Tuesday, Wednesday, and then came back home Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
And got Italian on Tuesday night. Got like a lobster ravioli, diavolo pizza, which is just like spicy pepperoni. It was great. and calamari, and then I got 2 cannolis for spending more than $45.
Yeah.
So I sent you guys a picture of that, and that was like my spread. And in the morning, I ate the cannolis. So it was like, instead of donuts.
Right.
Yeah. And have my coffee that comes with the room.
I always like it when you send me the pictures of your massive meals when you're out of town. That wasn't the first one you sent me. It's always fun.
I've never had to explain it to work, but whenever I send it to the group and Ashley's like, you can't eat all that. I'm like, I'm not going to eat it all right now.
It's a lot of food. Especially, I mean, that's coming from me, a guy who knows a lot about a lot of food.
I did eat damn near all that pizza. The pizza was really good. But yeah, save the cannolis and some of the ravioli for breakfast. The lobster ravioli for breakfast is good.
Nice.
It was weird when I was in DC this last time. I know it's been in the news, these fires out of Canada. And so when I showed up Tuesday afternoon, it's like airport, Uber, hotel. And then I'm in the hotel. I did my first fantasy draft, which we'll talk about. But I was just in the hotel for the night. I was prepping for that, prepping for my meetings, blah, blah, blah. And then in the morning on Wednesday when this conference started, a hotel Uber conference. And it wasn't until I had a lunch thing with a partner on Wednesday that we went out and we walked from the Walter Washington Convention Center to a place called Yardbird that's like down the street and around the corner, and smoked out, all hazed out, and I was like, oh, there is something going on. And then it just got worse throughout the day. And then Thursday, one of the pictures I'll put up, Thursday morning, the sun through the haze and all that, just like surreal.
Yeah.
And then I was seeing pictures and reports from New York City where it was like 8 times worse. It looked like post-apocalyptic.
Yep.
And that's a thing that happens. Canada's a big place.
Yeah.
Set a big chunk of it on fire and see what happens.
Yeah, that stuff is pretty wild. And also, that like reminds me like just how far stuff can travel. Like sometimes we've had like haziness here because of like dust from Africa. Makes its way all the way over here. It's just like a lot.
At least that African dust, supposedly it like has silt or whatever and helps the agriculture industry somehow. Some oblique way. This is just smoke. A lot of so we had a nice dinner Wednesday night with another partner, and it was just there was business talked for the first however many minutes, but then the rest of the time it was just cocktails and steak and this $200 bottle of wine called Camus. And every time I heard the name of it, I was like, "Are you sure you don't mean like Camus? Like, are we butchering the name of this?" but I don't drink wine, you know.
Right.
Like I drink like margaritas, like on the pie chart, like 90% of what I do, if not like more. And I didn't. Subsequently found out, yeah, it is like Camus, but folks were like, "This is great." I'm like, it tastes like wine to me. But oh yeah, everybody's got kids, and they're talking about like their kids couldn't do outdoor soccer practice, so they had to pay extra fees to do indoor soccer practice. And my technical counterpart is I want to say a kid from India, but he's got to be like 25, right? And he's talking about how the U.S. does it like totally backwards, where like in South America and like other places, the less money you have, like the better you are at soccer. And in the U.S., to get onto these like clubs and to have any shot at like the national team, it's the complete opposite. You got to be loaded and doing all this like summer tours and all of that, and you're spending like so much per kid for the facilities and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I just wanted to kind of bring this up. I've been noticing you've been going to DC quite a bit more lately. And I've kind of started noticing a correlation to a little bit of something.
What's that?
I feel like every time you run off to DC, there's a new little bit of information out in the news about some UFO stuff going on. And at first I didn't think anything of it. But then I got to thinking, I watch a lot of military type videos and stuff like that, and I was like, Nathan was in the military, and I was like, what was he doing? Signal Corps. He talks to people. What? So I do a little bit more digging, and it really struck me that you kind of seem to be going there every time something UFO related is going on, and I'm like, could this be? It is probably a coincidence, but you know what? I mean, Nathan, like we started off this show talking about how much you like to serve and help out humanity. Well, I mean, and you're a smart motherfucker too, so it's like, what's going on, Nate? I mean, do you know anything? Because, and also, I got a lot of theories. I put a lot of time and effort into thinking about what's been going on with all these UFOs and stuff, but I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot. Don't say anything where like someone's gonna rush in here and like take away my computer and put me in a prison or anything. But are we okay? Are we good, Nate? Are you good? What's going on? I mean, it seems like a really good kind of place for you to be put in, where if you needed to be called to DC for something, well, that's just a very convenient excuse. So, do you have anything to say about that?
You know, Signal Corps. I talk to people. People talk to people. People talk to people that, were in Signal Corps. People talk all the time about all kinds of things they shouldn't talk about, and maybe things they shouldn't ask about. And let's just say maybe that's all that needs to be said.
I mean, because I'm pretty sure I recall you had some kind of, at least, quote unquote, had some kind of security clearance that the normal person wouldn't have.
I mean, that's neither here nor there. There's, again, just like Signal doesn't mean that other people don't talk to other people. Whatever security clearance I may or may not have had doesn't mean that other people don't also have similar security clearances.
Cut this shit, Nate. What's going on?
Speaking of security clearances, some big news this week of certain individuals getting indicted over their carelessness with sensitive materials. Big in the news.
Good pivot there.
Former commanders in chief.
I'll allow it.
So maybe there's a lesson to be learned there of discretion and not taking leaps and being irresponsible with.
If I was to go over to your house right now, are there any documents I might stumble across accidentally?
Well, that's a ridiculous question because the house has plenty of documents in it. What do you mean?
I mean documents that shouldn't be there.
No, there's no documents that shouldn't be there. Because, those are my documents.
Did you declassify them while you were still in the Army, or?
Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But whatever I do or choose to do, because I did it, that means it's right. Seems to be the legal defense of this other person.
Oh, good times.
No, we stray away from politics, but I mean we do talk about like history and historical stuff, and that is presumably I don't think that Trump was the only president to be indicted before this. I think like Roosevelt got like a traffic ticket or did some silly thing that in like retrospect is like silly, but he was the first guy to get. I mean, he's been indicted in civil court, which is that E. Jean Carroll thing, and found guilty even. Like that's gone its course, and now it's an appeal. He's been indicted by an actual criminal court in New York City, which is over those payments that Michael Cohen went to prison for. Presumably doing stuff at the behest of that guy. But this is a big first, in that it's the US DOJ indicting used to be president. And on one hand, I hate it because I think it makes us look bad in the present to the rest of the world. But then also historically, it's, this nation hasn't been like a perfect nation, and it's almost 250 years, and there's all kinds of thumbprints of infamy throughout it. But on the other hand, like, if you do bad things, you have to suffer the consequences for that. I'm definitely on board with that. Do you have any thoughts on it? Because I have a lot of thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bit of thoughts, but again, I don't love talking about all this stuff too much. But I mean, you say this makes us look bad. I think it would make us look worse if we didn't follow the law, and if someone does something wrong, we don't punish them. That would make us look like we're already looking bad. Mm-hmm. Like, not doing anything would make us look worse, I think. I don't think this is making us look any worse.
Yeah. And then I know how people think on both sides of the aisle, which I don't even think is a thing. And I know how people talk and what they think. They come from the different angles you can come from in society today. And I know a lot of folks would respond to that with, well, we look even worse because we don't prosecute Clinton and the Bidens for this, that, and the other. And my substantive should be taken as nonpartisan commentary on that is that U.S. DOJ, by policy, by design, doesn't indict folks and doesn't go to trial and doesn't pursue things that they cannot see through. And what that means practically is lots of bad people do lots of bad things, but they're not going to see an indictment from US DOJ if they don't have the evidence to have it be what they would consider ironclad. So that's like a difference between what happened with the civil case and what happened with New York City is if they feel they have to launch an indictment, investigation, prosecution, whatever, because this is a bad person who did a bad thing, and we can convince the jury of that. That's one thing. But the DOJ won't do it just based on how bad the act and the person is. Like, it has to be able to, again, to go all the way. And that's why they have such a high percentage of, like, they prosecuted someone and that person was convicted.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are, I mean, regardless of if you think these other people are guilty, like the Bidens and Clintons,
mm-hmm.
like, I'll be transparent in that I think that these things are not the same. I think that
they're very much not the same.
I think there are dramatic substantive differences, but regardless of that, I guess that's just the point, that there are dramatically different substantive differences between the things that we talk about. These other people have had documents that they're not supposed to have. I think we're all used to the phrase, it's not the crime, it's the cover-up. And I've read the 30 however many pages of the indictment for Trump with respect to the sensitive documents. Mm-hmm. And a good chunk of that is like, here's the text messages and who said what, that is like clearly trying to hide things from the investigators, which is like textbook obstruction of justice.
Yeah.
And I don't know any other kind of way to look at that. And something I thought was remarkable about the indictment was it was remarkably unredacted, in that, like with the Mueller report, with the Senate intel, with so many federal prosecutions, there's a lot of redaction just because of the sources and methods, and you need to know the what, but you don't need to know the how. And this had almost no redactions, including the type of documents that are in question. There were like thousands of documents that were involved in this, but they're only prosecuting over 31 of those thousands. And the classification markings, we were joking about my prior life, but it's like anybody with familiarity and who has had clearance before we're like, oh, that's a lot of no foreign. That's a lot of, like, you can't show these to people that aren't, like, U.S. citizens, and, like, a lot of Five Eye, you can only show that to these 5 nations. And all of it, almost all of it, being the military capabilities of other nations.
Yeah.
Which I never want to be over my skis, and I always am railing on the importance between, like, fact and opinion and conjecture. And yeah, everything can point to this, but until it is this, we should accept that it's opinion and conjecture.
Mm-hmm.
So when folks were saying, so the 2 different ways you could come at it is he wanted stuff that he could sell to the Saudis because of all the Saudis and UAE, because of all the money they're giving Kushner. And it's like, you don't know that, you know.
Yeah.
You're kind of putting the cart before the horse. On the other end, people were saying, like, yeah, it's classified documents, but if it's meeting notes that talks about, like, where the president, like, the most high value target, is going to be at a certain time, it's very sensitive. It's very hush hush. But then once you're there and the cameras are there, then the value of that, like, where he's going to be, when he's going to be there, it's not as important. And that's frankly the kind of thing that I thought was going on in my conjecture, was that he was just, like, keeping trophies, basically, of, like, oh yeah, this one time I flew in and out of Afghanistan. Like, I would want to keep something like that. But I wouldn't, because it's not mine to keep. But then also, that's not as significant as the military capabilities of different nations garnered from whatever different methods that could be from. So that's... I'm open to people who support and like Trump, or just dislike the government, basically, and dislike Democrats and their positions of they're trying to prosecute him for anything, and that this is, like, nothing. I'm open to hearing that, but now that we've definitely passed a line of, well, now we know what these things were, and they were incredibly valuable, and things that he definitely should not have had, and that are that aren't nothing, basically, that aren't just relevant and valuable to him. They would be relevant and valuable to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something. History's happening all the time.
I'm so tired of it. I wish we could just have a decade of just, like, boring, just, like, everybody just chilling.
We can't have it. There's too many of us. It was one thing when, like, every generation looked like the last generation, because there were only, like, 3 million people around the world. 10 million people around the world, but in, like, different continents. Just too many of us. I don't mean that in that, like, we need to have less of us, but I do mean it in the sense that any one person can only take in so many events per day, and there's just so many people creating so many events all around the world, and we're going to have access to all of it. Like, we're never going to have chill times with this many people, with this much access to people and information.
And now we're having things happening by... we don't even know, not even people. We got another party coming to the table.
You want UFOs again?
Huh?
You want UFOs again?
Yeah.
Let's get out your system, Kelley. What's going on with UFOs? What did I miss? I've been busy this week.
I had more I wanted to say about that.
Please.
Not pertaining to you, but it's just, I don't know. I've had a lot of free time lately. I've been thinking a lot about UFOs and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I've come up with what I think is pretty solid hypothesis as to what's going on with all of that.
Let's hear it.
They're not extraterrestrials.
Okay.
They're from here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was thinking about it. In human life, our ancestors didn't start coming out of the ocean until around 400 million years ago. Mm-hmm. What if something didn't have to come out of the ocean and had a 400 million year head start on evolution than we did? Like, that's a lot of time to figure a lot of shit out and make a lot of things happen, especially, like, if you want to get really into the weeds, like pyramids and the what are they called? NASCAR lines and the...
NASCAR, yeah. I think NASCAR was taken at the time. No, it wasn't. I'm kidding.
Well, I tried to pronounce it with a Z because I knew there was a Z. I knew it wasn't NASCAR. But all that stuff. So, and also, another thing that is interesting is like, or from what I'm thinking, there's something living like at the bottom of the ocean or like just under the ocean that somehow got there, and they had a 400 million year head start. And the fact that they lived down there, the very bottom of the ocean, experiences like 16,000 psi of pressure. Mm-hmm. So whatever this thing is, it's probably like a squid octopus hybrid. It's like barely anything membrane wise, and it's just somehow really fucking smart. Mm-hmm. And I think that's how these things, they somehow figured out something we haven't yet about something we have in the Earth, because the Earth is pretty cool and full of a lot of really cool stuff. Probably haven't found whatever they found yet. And now they're up zipping around trying to figure out why all these plastic bottles are landing on the bottom of the ocean and what's going on up top. Mm-hmm. And so they're basically exploring their outer space, which is our level. And I think because they come from the deep and they're like these like jellyfish type things, they're probably in their aircraft or in their craft, probably suspended in some kind of liquid. And coming from that kind of pressure, I'm guessing that that's how they allow themselves to deal with G-forces that physics says nothing should be able to withstand.
I like that tied together, yeah.
We've seen a bunch of them coming in and out of the ocean. And I just think it makes way more sense. Like, just the statistical probability of, like, another species just finding us. Let alone that species evolving to be interstellar travelers. It's like if you won the Powerball 1,000 times in a row by yourself. Like, just, that's how astronomical those numbers get. So, yeah.
I like this. I like this theory.
So I'm pretty sure they're from here.
Okay, so I like this theory because it doesn't involve, you'd have to do so much and spend so much energy to get from one star to the next.
And time, like the time too.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, presumably you shorten the time, but with like tremendous use of energy that is, I mean, maybe it's possible, but it's hard to imagine.
And I think if something was traveling here from that, using that, we'd see some kind of energy blip somehow. Like, you can't just pop up and just like...
Great point.
Where did you come from?
Yeah, because we're detecting stuff happening galaxies away. Yeah, I guess galaxies away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if something just like came out of warp in our solar system or whatever, tore a wormhole in our solar system to get to us, like presumably, yeah, we'd be able to detect that.
Yeah, something would have happened.
But I also like the part where there's tremendous pressure at depth, so that these insane G's, like maybe it does mean nothing to them. And then yeah, the amount of time that came up at that nice dinner. I was seated next to a couple dudes that I described them as a liberal Joe Rogan listener and a conservative Joe Rogan listener. And they got in this spiral over ancient civilizations. And they were at the end of the table, and I was next to the end of the table. So we were having like our own silly conversation while there was like silly but more mainstream conversations happening on the other end.
Yeah.
And ancient civilizations came up, including like the pyramids, and it's impossible, we couldn't do it today. And usually with stuff like that, with the pyramids, and look how big this is so long ago, usually I'll say something like, well, imagine if you didn't have TV. Like, imagine if like your whole life was like, I'm gonna eat and I'm gonna do what? And you know, with enough people and enough time, which like is all they had, I could see them like figuring it out. And maybe not with anything we don't already know about. Maybe just with like, no way that many people would lift that much. Like, no, they fucking would, because they didn't have anything else to do. They would spend their whole lives doing something they only got a third of the way, because that's like, if that's what their like sun god told them that they wanted, their like living god wanted, then that's a totally different society, religious structure, what's important to people than we're used to in our 21st century, we got cell phones and all this. Like, people need distraction. And they need a point and they need stuff to do. And if there's just like nothing going on but eating and moving rocks, then yeah, you could build the pyramids.
Well, see, the thing for me, like with the pyramids, is it's not the fact that it got built. Like, I know, just put enough humans and enough time behind something, they'll figure it out, they'll do it. What gets me about it is the precision of them.
Yeah.
And how, like, their orientation, their scale, everything is connected to something in, like, greater nature. Like, all the numbers, like, relate to something. Like, each angle is something, each length of something means something. It's all relative, like, to the scale of the earth, or I forget exactly what it is. But everything, like, that part is what gets me. Is, like, how, like, way back then, I know people could just pile rocks on each other until you make a big-ass pyramid. But that kind of precision, that's what makes me like, okay, this is I'm not saying that it's an ancient alien situation or ancient localized, like, I don't even know what you'd call them. It's not an extraterrestrial. It's like a hyperterrestrial. Whatever.
Yeah. A lost technology.
But yeah, it's just that them having that information, that precision to be able to do it is what excites me.
I think that just goes with, we've got nothing else to do, so we're gonna... I also think, like, if the pyramids were, like, 6 sides or 5 sides instead of 4 sides, that we'd also be saying, oh, look how it correlates with this other star instead of these stars. But my thing that I like that's similar to that is Machu Picchu, and you look at the walls, and I guess this isn't distinct to these very, very old things, but where there's a style of building walls and putting stones together where it's like we're working on a jigsaw puzzle, and it's there's some crazy ass pieces in there, and it's like, how do these things go together? And then also, like, the thing I like about Machu Picchu is it's like up a mountain.
Yeah.
Like, there's the engineering and how many people died like getting these heavy ass rocks up this slope. But in that conversation with the two Joe Rogan people, ancient civilizations and this idea that people have been people for so long, but we only can, like, look back so far, and that if it's 400,000 years that people have been walking around and doing math and burying loved ones and all that, over the last 2,000 years, we say all the time, there's been so much innovation, and that there have been several of those, like, 2,000 year sprints, if you want to say, in a 400,000 year history. If we ended ourselves today, like if there was a cosmic radiation burst, or if we just nuked ourselves or whatever, after a not long amount of time, you wouldn't be able to tell that we were here at all, basically, except for things that were done in stone. And increasingly, we don't do that anymore. It's all digital. It's all data centers and glass and silicone and plastic. And how much of that is going to be around in 100,000 years if we all stop maintaining it right now? And how many of those cycles could there have been? I don't know. We really don't know. And the history on it's always changing. Like, that was when I was at MoCo, I was on the newspaper, and that was there was a guy that was an Egyptologist who came and did, like, a mainstream, hey, these are the recent discoveries, go see them at your museum. I think that's what was going on. Like, there was a museum exhibit in Houston, and he was just going to all the places. But when we had dinner with him afterwards, he was like, I love this field because the history is always getting older, and that there's constantly, like, rewriting the history books. And even, like, last week, people weren't supposed to be burying people until a certain amount of time back, and that's the anthropologists and the archaeologists, they love that because it's not just people as a tribe, you know, eating grain and just staying alive, but it's culture. We have maybe not a religion, but we have a belief, and it makes sense. It matters to bury people, and that when they're dead, you give some reverence to that. It's an important thing in the evolution of people from tribes and subsistence to society building, right? And in South Africa, like the nation of South Africa, in South Africa, they just discovered some burial cave that sets everything back like another 100,000 years. And that to me is interesting, because there's, I don't know about you, but for me, coming up in high school and growing up and all that, it was like there's ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia and Greece and Rome, and then today. And it's limited globally because there's like this whole India-China thing going on, and Indonesia and Australia, there's cool stuff like historically back there as far as tiny humans, Australopithecus, and there's just so much more history than certainly we're exposed to in high school, but then also even the people who are on top of history, like it's their job. They're like, there's like new things maybe not literally every day, but certainly every year.
Yeah.
That just redefines how far back we could have been doing math and talking about society and doing shit like this. Yeah. Just talking about talking.
Love it. Love thinking about that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So and like you said, that's just, so I talked about history being narrow on the scope of geography and how we're focused on like Africa, Mediterranean. But you took it to another place. It's like, you're only thinking about the land.
I mean, 400 million years between just our first land creatures. Not a human, nothing that looks like a human. We're talking like salamander type shit.
Yeah. 400
million years ago. So that's a lot of time.
It took a lot of stimuli to get us from hunter-gathering to spaceships. And we know that underwater things can get pretty smart. Like octopi are pretty smart.
Super smart.
Dolphins are pretty smart.
Super smart.
You don't just need land-based stimuli to get intelligence and work in teams and do teamwork. And I'm thinking of the dolphins and the orcas there, but then like individual octopi. Have you heard that like octopi is not right? I grew up thinking that was right, but that like octopuses is what it's supposed to be.
That'd be pretty cool.
I want out. Yeah, but the individual octopi individually are cunning problem solvers. Yeah, so I'm on board.
And also, I mean, I recently read this sci-fi book that really enjoyed, but it put some like thoughts into my mind, like how to think about other intelligent life and how they might be, because like usually when we think of like another intelligent life, it's something very similar to us. Like maybe a green guy with big eyes, big head, but still 2 arms, 2 legs, torso, stuff like that. So like just trying to break out of like that thought and like what other kinds of intelligences are there, and like and I think it just, if these things are real, like UFOs, like real craft, we're like this whistleblower is saying that we have actual intact craft.
Oh yeah, that's what happened.
Statistically, they should probably be from here, I would think. I think that's a more likely scenario to happen than them be from light years away. Mm-hmm. And it also kind of makes sense, like some of the things I've heard, and this is going way into the wormhole of all, but like Bob Lazar, whatever his name was, came out talking about a lot of stuff. Like apparently these creatures are fairly small. They're not big. Like the insides of these ships aren't massive, so like they're much smaller than us.
These alleged ships, yeah.
So, I mean, I think it makes sense for a little blob of goo, basically, just be in there in some kind of liquid and super pressurized, and they haven't figured out.
I like this angle. Is this from a book you said?
Not this theory, just the book got me thinking about how other intelligent life could be that's non-humanoid.
I think this is the thinking that field needs.
I thought about writing a book about this thought, but that's a lot.
Yeah.
So we've been going a while now.
I can't believe it's been 45 minutes already.
Yeah.
I must have spent too much time talking about Trump. Or maybe I'm just going slower because of my blood. Lack of blood.
Do you want to do a quiz corner?
Quiz corner, please, yes.
All right. I don't think this one should take very long.
All right.
But,
just while you're setting that up, we watched The Expanse last night. It was the penultimate season finale. I loved that season of The Expanse because everybody was the most themselves. So, like, the Earther went to Earth and had an Earth adventure. The Belter that had lost her son. I guess that's not a spoiler because I'm saying the Belter. But did that whole mom thing and then also did the, all right, here's a hopeless situation. Outthink your way out of it. Go. And pulled that off. And Holden, oh, nice. Holden did his thing. I definitely have one that I want to come out of this. It was great. It was great. The belt was the most belt it's ever been. Yeah. The most belt it's ever belted. That was just a great season and an amazing show. Everybody watch The Expanse. Go. All right, go Kelley.
All right, on this week's episode of Kelley's Quiz Corner, we are taking a quiz. Which Fast and Furious film are you? So we'll go ahead and just get right into this here. First question is to pick a squad member. You can do Brian, Dom, Mia, Hobbs, Letty, or Han.
Man, based on what? It's too open.
You just gotta pick one. Who speaks to you?
I guess Brian does.
I'm going Han.
That's fine.
I think he's most like if I'm most like any of those, it'd be him.
So is that the question? Like you pick.
I'm interpreting it how I want to interpret it.
Yeah.
So you do you.
I'm going with Brian because he comes from structure and order and dismantled it and abandoned it to do what was right.
Alrighty. What's your life motto?
Oh, here we go.
Live 1/4 mile at a time. So, some driving for your ass. Okay. Drift to win. Bad pretending to be good. Nos in your blood. It says Nox, but we're going to say Nos. Be sandwich crazy.
What? I don't agree with live 1/4 mile at a time. That's the best one there. So I'm driving for your ass. I'm going to go with that one.
I'm going to say bad pretending to be good. I almost went be sandwich crazy, though. Alrighty, next question 3. Grab some wheels. So we're choosing a car. You can do an 87 Buick Grand National GNX, 97 Mazda RX-7, 69 Chevy Camaro Yenko, 95 Volkswagen Jetta, 95 Toyota Supra Turbo, 70 Dodge Charger.
The Charger. I like the Charger, but it's got to be the 69 Chevy Camaro Yenko.
I can't believe they don't have a Skyline on here. I mean, I'm definitely going to have to choose Charger. So I appreciate you not choosing Charger.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, next question. Pick a locale. Los Angeles, Glasgow, Rio de Janeiro, Panama City, Tokyo, or Miami. I know you're going to pick Miami, right?
Listener, I'm famously anti-Miami.
I'm going Glasgow.
I was going to go to Glasgow.
That's why I said it real quick.
I
mean, you can go Glasgow. We're not picking all the same.
I'll go LA. It's just where this is all going down.
Pick a classic car flick.
Nice.
Weekend, Gone in 60 Seconds, Bullet, Vanishing Point, Repo Man, Christine.
Christine. My dad would like Christine. I'm doing Bullet.
I'll do Gone in 60 Seconds.
Nice. I've seen some of those chases in Bullet and pretty amazing.
Pick a title for the 8th film. How old is this?
Yeah, right. It's a Fast 8.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just reading myself.
Fast 8. Furious 8. 8 Fast, 8 Furious. Spiders have 8 furious legs. Fast 8 corner pocket. Or The Fast and the Furious Minnesota Drift.
I'm either Fast and 8 in corner pocket, or The Fast and Furious Minnesota Drift.
I don't know. I like Furious 8 because it was Fast 8. Now we got.
I'm going corner pocket.
Damn. Did you get yours?
I did.
What you got?
I got Fast and Furious.
The original?
Is that the original? No, it's not the original. Unless they have the GIF wrong. Because this has Dom driving that Buick under the flipping tanker.
Cool. I got Too Fast, Too Furious.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's cute.
I have a favorite Fast and Furious movie, and it's the, I think it's the 4th one.
I'm trying to figure this out real quick.
Alright, in the meantime, mine says Too Fast, Too Furious. You're all about new adventures and leaving the past behind. But you'll have a great time, crack some jokes, and end up realizing that your past and your present are even better when they're together. That's nice.
Mine says Fast and Furious. You're all about bringing people together who previously had no connection to one another, but find out they have a lot in common. Your bonds run deep even in the wake of tragedy.
How about that?
Well, fun little quiz.
You've been known to bring some people together, Kelley.
Yeah, it's something I can do. For better or worse. Yeah, Fast and Furious was after Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, that's my favorite one. And you know why?
I think so.
Yeah. It's got that one scene.
Yeah.
Best scene in all Fast and Furious franchise.
I mean, I don't know if I could say that, but it's definitely up there.
Nathan's favorite scene from all the Fast and Furious franchise.
There you go.
Alright, we went long.
Yeah.
Can't believe we went long again. Jeez. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. You got anything else? You want to cut it out?
I did my first fantasy draft on Tuesday. I could have done better.
I thought you said you did one like a week or two ago. Or a few weeks ago.
Nah, this is my first.
And then I asked you about it, and you're like, well, I can't tell you. I was like, you bitch.
It was a mock draft, but no, this was the first like real draft.
Wait, you did a real draft.
A real draft. I've been mock drafting. What are you talking about, Kelley?
What? Why are you real drafting in June?
Yeah, so I wanted to see the level of competition drafting this early. Because if it was a breeze, if it was like a mock draft but for money, that was going to make me happy. And it did alright, but definitely made one big mistake that based on this I probably will do more early drafts and just not make that mistake again.
So cloak and dagger with your fantasy stuff.
I just want a level playing field for our folks. Although it is a Yahoo standard 10-person league, it's not like our league at all.
Right.
Yeah. I'll show you my stuff after this.
Alright. Well, that's all I got.
Cool.
Alright, everyone. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. We love y'all. Be safe. Don't forget to like, subscribe.
I'm also saying like and subscribe. Don't wait on Nathan to post this on Facebook.
Alrighty, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Love you guys. Bye.